The Laughing Freeman, From Predator to Protector, written by Hashblink, Thomas Sharif, narrated by a Yeti. Part 1. The Laughing Freeman was a notorious predator killer, feared by all who had heard his name. He was a tall and muscular man with a wild look in his eyes and a laugh that sent shivers down the spines of his victims. He was feared not only for his strength and cunning, but for his unnerving habit of laughing at everything, even after he took their lives. Yaku, as he was known to his close associates, seemed to find humor in the most terrifying of situations. He was a man who loved the thrill of the hunt, and he laughed with glee as he stalked and chased his prey through the dense forest. His laughter was a signal to his victims that they had no chance of survival, and it sent chills down their spines. The Laughing Freeman was a predator unlike any other, and there was something about his maniacal laughter that made him all the more terrifying. He was a man who truly enjoyed the suffering of others, and he seemed to revel in the fear and panic that he induced. At this moment he crept through the dense foliage, his eyes scanning for his next victim. A smile crept over his lips as he spotted a young woman walking alone. He crouched low in the bushes and waited for the perfect moment to strike. As he pounced on her, she let out a scream that echoed through the forest. But despite her cries for help, Yaku only laughed harder. He was a predator at heart, and he loved nothing more than the thrill of the hunt. As he took her life, his laughter grew louder and more maniacal, echoing through the trees like a sinister symphony. And with that, he disappeared back into the jungle, leaving behind a trail of terror and destruction in his wake. The Laughing Freeman was a force to be reckoned with, and he would stop at nothing to satisfy his insatiable desire for blood and laughter. As the sun started to set on the horizon, Yaku made his way through the dense jungle, his eyes scanning the area for any potential prey. He had been on the hunt for days and was starting to grow impatient. He needed a new victim to satisfy his insatiable thirst for blood. Suddenly, he heard a rustling in the bushes ahead of him. He grinned widely, knowing that his next prey was close at hand. Yaku crept forward, his laughter echoing through the trees. As he drew closer to the source of the noise, he saw a young woman picking berries from a bush. She was oblivious to his presence, and he relished in the thought of the terror she would feel when she saw him. Yaku crept up behind her, his hand reaching for his knife. Just as he was about to strike, the woman turned around and looked him straight in the eye. To his surprise, she didn't scream or run. Instead, she looked at him with a calm and steady gaze, unafraid of the predator before her. Yaku felt a strange sensation, one he had never experienced before. Was it fear? No, it couldn't be. He raised his knife, but before he could strike, the woman spoke. "Why do you laugh?" she asked softly, her eyes boring into his skull. Yaku felt his grip on the knife falter. No one had ever confronted him before, let alone ask him a question. He tried to laugh, but the sound died in his throat. The woman continued to stare at him, waiting for an answer. Yaku felt a strange urge to talk to her, to tell her everything without realizing it. He found himself pouring out his entire life story to the stranger. He told her about his childhood, his parents, and the first time he had killed someone. The woman listened without judgment, and when he was finished, she simply smiled and walked away. Yaku was left alone in the jungle, feeling lost and confused. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel the need to laugh. As he made his way back to his hunt, Yaku couldn't stop thinking about the woman and the effect she had on him. He knew he had to find her again, but for a different reason this time. He needed answers, and he was determined to find them. Yaku continued to tell the woman his story as they sat among the berry bushes. He spoke of his upbringing in a small village, his abusive father, and his eventual descent into madness. The woman listened intently, trying to understand the twisted mind of the Laughing Freeman. As the sun began to set, Yaku stood up to leave. "Thank you for listening," he said with a grin, "but don't get too comfortable. I'm still a predator after all." The woman nodded, understanding the danger she was in, but as she turned to gather her berries and leave, Yaku suddenly burst out laughing. The woman froze, not knowing what to expect. But Yaku just kept laughing, doubling over in a fit of hysteria. "What's so funny?" the woman asked cautiously. Yaku wiped away tears of laughter. "You, my dear," he said, "you thought I was going to kill you just now. But the truth is, I only kill those who fear me. And you..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?